Alright, looks like it's time to get a handle on this build. I cracked myself up. So sometimes you find they put the spruce tubs in the most inconvenient places. In this case, it's right on the weld detail on the edge of the turret. So what I do is just trim it flat without taking away too much of the already molded in detail, using your hobby knife or even sandpaper. And then I use a razor saw, but you can use your hobby knife or something similar. And I just carefully score in the same direction as the detail of the weld bead in this case. And then here's another example on the turret as well. Try to feather it out from the center to the edges so it's not so obvious that you're working on one spot. Just make a few little ones to kind of blend it all together. And then what I do is I take the side of the razor saw and just kind of score it even more to take away some of the obvious effect of it. And then after that, what I do is use a little bit of the extra thin cement, which will melt the plastic just a little bit and take away the burrs, more blended in. You can always come back and sand any imperfections on the turret itself after you're done. You'll find the detail on the hinges on the hatches is, well, frankly, completely lacking. So what I did is just drilled a few holes in the hinge pin area, but not all the way through. Now what I do is take a bit of styrene rod. I keep the stuff around all the time. It's cheap as borscht. Just to put one in each of the holes. Doesn't have to be neat at this stage. And when the glue's dried, snip it off with your cutters or with a knife, just close to where the hinge is. Again, doesn't have to be perfect yet. And then after you've snipped them, take a file or some sandpaper and sand it until there's just a little flat disc left. This really will look like the hinge pin on the real thing. Small hinges on the top of the turret are kind of lacking in detail as well. But what I did in this case was I just drilled a small hole into each of the hinges instead of putting a pin in. This will still draw the eye of the viewer to this detail. And once it's painted, it'll look really great. And in no time at all, Bob's your uncle. You get some great detail that really draws the eye in. All my reference photos for the Cougar showed that the ammunition racks on the side of the turret were always empty. So it was time to modify the kit ones because they came with the ammunition boxes molded in. So I just took the motor tool and carefully dug out the inside of the detail until eventually it was hollow. Now it's time to break out the metal file again and file down the inside of the ammo rack. Just make sure that you get it nice and straight and try to get the walls kind of scale thin. Take your time, or until your fingers cramp up. Now just glue the racks in place, and you'll have a detail that will set your model apart from most of the other out-of-the-box examples with really very little effort. And now it's time to add the photo etch detail to the bustle rack on the back. I like to cut my photo etch on a piece of ceramic tile. You can get it really inexpensively at your local hardware store or home supply center. And it allows you to cut the metal away without deforming it. You have to use super glue to attach your photo etch to your plastic. I hate super glue. And there you have it, one luggage rack for a tank.